Hello BookTube, it's time for a Tag for Tag Tuesday, and the tag I'm doing is the end of the year book tag, which is perfect for the very beginning of December, Tuesday. And this was originally by a booktuber called Ariel, but I think it no longer exists, her original. But I was tagged by Leo of A Little Book Life, and his version is lovely, so do watch that. I'll link to it. And thank you for the tag, Leo. Now, question number 1. Any books you started this year that you need to finish? Well, I've got just one that I need to finish that I've already started, and that's All the Tea in China. And in fact, I'll be doing pretty well if I manage to finish the whole title of this book. Let's get this right. It's All the Tea in China, Espionage, Empire, and the Secret Formula for the World's Favourite Drink by Sarah Rose. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. Definitely got to finish it. Maybe if I try really hard, I might even have finished it by the time I upload this tag. The other book I've already started is Paradise Lost, but that is definitely not one I want to finish before the end of this year, because it's like a weekly treat reading another book of Paradise Lost. There's 12 books, so I'm expecting it to last all the way through December and all the way through January as well. It's lasted all the way through November already. Question number 2. An autumnal book to transition into the end of the year. Well, I'm doing this so late that I guess it should be like a winter book to transition into the end of the year. Now, I don't really do seasonal readings. I saw Mark Nash do this tag, and yeah, it was like there was a lovely kind of like sneer on his face when he said different things for different seasons. But I've actually decided to do a bit of seasonal reading this year. I've got a little plan in mind, which I'll explain, which is to do a bit of a genre Christmas and New Year holiday. I've got the best part of 2 weeks off, and I think I was a bit inspired by Cloak and Dagger Christmas, and I'll link to an announcement video for that if you're not already aware of it, which is about reading sort of mysteries and so on. But also doing a couple of tags I've done recently. One, the reading tastes tag, one was the self-aware reader tag, and one was the anti-TBR tag, and they all made me think about what I read or don't read, what choices I make about reading. Also, discussion that Brian of Bookish has had on his Saturday Hodgepodge about like book snobbery. And he linked to, now I've forgotten, a video by someone else, which I will link to whose name has gone out of my head, but yeah, really interesting, talking about kind of book elitism. So basically what I'm saying is that all those things have made me think, why am I a bit sort of snitty sometimes about genre reading? Am I missing out? Not that I never read things from sort of genres, but I'm a bit like, oh well, that's the sort of light relief that I do in between other things maybe, and I deprioritize it. So the plan is I am going to read over Christmas and New Year one noir crime sort of book, and that's Robichaud by James Lee Birch, and Alan by Big Hard of Big Hard Books and Classics has sort of prompted me to read that with him as which is going to be fun. I'm going to read a cosy mystery, and that's An Heir to Murder by Charlie Heathcote, who's a fellow booktuber, and a few people have recommended that one, including Brian and Margaret and Courtney, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to read a ghost story, ghost come horror, Shirley Jackson by Haunting of Hill House. I said on one of those other tags that I'd never read a ghost story that I really found kind of enjoyably scary, and that was the one that most people recommended, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a science fiction book, Dawn by Octavia Butler, who's a writer that I've kind of meant to read for a while, so this is my chance. I'm going to read a fantasy book, and I'm plumping for Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Leo, in his version of this tag, enthused about Piranesi, which he's well into already. So I think that's going to be a good choice. Now, there's other genres, aren't there? I'd say the obvious big gap, perhaps, in this would be a romance novel of some kind. So if anyone would like to recommend a romance novel that they think I might enjoy, Steve Donahue, you read romance, don't you? Yeah, you could recommend one to me. Yeah, and I will fit it in my genre Christmas holiday. There you go. So back to the questions. Question number 3: is there a new release you're still waiting for? No, there isn't, but there are a few recent releases by favourite authors of mine that I can't believe I haven't read yet, particularly because they're all kind of sequels to ones that I've already enjoyed by them. One is Ali Smith's Summer, which I must read. Now, Sarah of Hardcover Hearts is leading a kind of a read-along of all 4 of Ali Smith's seasonal novels, which I thought about joining, but I'd have to reread the other 3, and I think actually I don't need to do that. I only need to read the 4th one. But if you haven't read any of them, look out for that. Jack by Marilyn Robinson. I love Marilyn Robinson, and this, Gilead Home, Lila, wonderful. So and I can't believe I haven't read that. A Thousand Moons by Sebastian Barry. That's the sequel to a book that I loved with a passion, and yet I haven't got around to it yet. So yeah, those are all on my list, let's say. And I'm really looking forward to reading them. But question number 4 is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, I actually need to fit them in before I start my my genre Christmas and New Year holiday extravaganza, don't I? So and there's 7 to fit in before then, so I better get on, kick ass, as it were, this December. I've got 3 kind of group or buddy reads to do. One is my next read with Tilly of Tilly Shelf, because we're doing a monthly discussing drama read, and we're going to read The Doll's House by Ibsen, because that's set at Christmas. Would you believe? Yeah, it's easy to forget that, but it is actually set at Christmas. I'm reading another Clarice Lispector novel. Woohoo! Near to the Wild Heart, which was her first, and I'm reading that with of Codex Cantina and Alan of Big Hub Books and Classics, so that's going to be fun in December. And then I really want, and I'm going to make myself fit this in somehow, to join Matthew of Maybury Book Club in reading The Brothers Karamazov in December. So that's 3 already. Then I do a kind of like a Facebook book challenge each year, where we choose categories, and then you can choose your own book in one of the 12 categories that we've collectively chosen. And I've got 2 left that I haven't read yet. And one is, the category was the BBC list of 100 books that shaped our world. And the one I picked for that was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And I'm reading that because I'm sick of people going on about it and not being able to have an opinion because I've never read it. So that one. And the other was to read a children's book published since you were a grown-up. So I'm going to read Noughts and Crosses by Mallory Blackman, which both my kids enjoyed, but I happen not to read aloud to them, so that'll be quick though. They're both quite quick reads, I think. And then I belong to a real life book group, and I've got to read our book group choice for December, and that's The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. So that's good because it's something I was really keen to read. Sometimes they pick things I don't want to read, but I read them anyway because I'm a very obedient and committed and conscientious book club member. But hurrah, this is one I actually want to. So, and it would have been one of those on my things I wish I'd read this year and haven't. And then I need to read a new country because, a book from a new country. I try each month to read a book by an author from a country where I've never read a book by an author from that country before. That was a very long-winded way of saying it. This is my scally-dandling sort of habit. And I'm going to read The River, which is a book by an author from Fiji called Paulini Turebeki. So I've got to fit that in somehow. So, yes, those are my 3 books and some that I need to read before the end of the year. Then is there a book that that could still shock you and become your favourite of the year? Okay, well, I'll tell you what would really be a shock, and that is if The Road by Cormac McCarthy turned out to be my favourite book of the year. I doubt it somehow, but we'll see. Yeah. It's been a strong year though. A lot of good books. I haven't picked my favourite yet. I'm going to need to go back and think about that. Then, best question of all in this tag is question number 6. Have you already started making reading plans for 2021? Well, yes, of course I have. What do you take me for? I'm always planning more books to read. Now, I've got a couple of buddy reads planned for later in different points in the year, so that's nice. Tilly and I have decided we're going to carry on discussing drama, so that'll be 12 more plays. I've obviously got 12 more scallydandles to do to new countries where I haven't read a book by an author from that country before, and that is getting tougher and tougher as I go on, because I'm getting to more countries where there's less available published in English, and in some cases there's nothing, so I'm waiting for one to come along. But so that's part of my 2021 plans. Then I love booktube events, months, read-alongs, things, This month it's been, November, it's been Indigathon and Non-Fiction November. Victober, Jane Austen July, Caribathon, Latinxathon, Women in Translation Month, Springathon. Yeah, I love them. They get me to read different things, and I enjoy the discussion that they prompt. But this year they really kind of derailed my reading a bit, I think. So I'm going to try to plan ahead with them a bit more, but also maybe to do just one book for each of them rather than try and meet like a number of prompts. So that they don't take over my reading as much as they have this year. But it has been my first year on BookTube, and I wanted to throw myself into it. My first year making videos, that is. So, what is my other kind of 2021 plan? Okay, it's to try and complete things. Now, I don't mean complete books because I'm not a DNFer really. I usually complete a book if I start it. Not if it's rubbish, absolute rubbish, but otherwise I do. No, what I mean is I've realised, I think it was when I was doing the anti-TBR tag, that there's a number of trilogies or series that I've started that I really genuinely want to finish but keep not getting to because I get sucked off onto the new or to a readathon or something that carries me off in different directions. So I'm determined. I'm going to make a little list of those and actually finish them over the course of 2021, and then that includes those new releases that I talked about, which are all part of a sequence or a trilogy or a series of books. So that is a 2021 plan that you can hold me to. So, shall I tag anybody? It's so close to the end of the year that it feels a bit mad to tag anyone. But then Leo of A Little Book Life said that this is the perfect moment to do the end of the year tag and tagged me, and I was very appreciative of that. So I will, just a few. I'm going to tag Emily of Novel Novels because the last tag I did was her friend's tag, which was very enjoyable, and she's so warm. What a lovely, warm, friendly booktuber Emily is. So you, Emily, do this one, and I'd love to hear your plans. Another person where I would love to hear their 2021 plans is Brian of Bookish, and I know he can always he just slaps out a tag, no trouble, so I'm sure he can fit it in December. Margaret Pinnard is a booktuber that I'm kind of getting to know and really enjoying, and we chat a lot in comment sections. I'm not sure she does tags really. You're not a tag doer, are you, Margaret? But it would be nice to hear about your plans, so maybe do this one. It's okay if you don't want to, no pressure. And then of course there's Steve, darling Steve Donoghue. Now this would be the moment for Steve to do this tag, because doing it in like September or October and talking about 3 books he wants to read by the end of the year would be just a little ludicrous. So this could be the time, and I don't think he's already done it. Yeah, I think not. So But anyone else that fancies this, please do. If you want to do a little wrap up and think about the year ahead, it's a goodie. And happy December, the beginning of.